recording. So welcome everybody. This is Bhagavad Gītā memorization. We're memorizing chapter 15. Today I'm in North Dallas at the Pro Touch Soccer Center. There's like hundreds of kids here, and my son is one of the kids doing a martial arts belt test. And at some point I have to come in and give him his yellow belt. My daughter and her friend are there, and there's like hundreds of kids. But if he gets called, I'll just be out for a few minutes, and then you guys can do as we usually do, practice amongst each other. Like, Carlos, okay, there you go, you got muted. So how's everybody doing on there? We have some of our newer students that have been practicing. Carlos has a few verses memorized that he's worked on. David, how's it going with you?
Yeah, it's going okay.
Okay. You have a verse you could recite for us, a verse or a few?
Yeah, I could maybe do a few. So I started, my first class was 8, and I haven't done anything before that.
Okay.
So we'll see. I might be able to do a couple here. Shariram yadavapnati yachchapi ukramati shvaraha grihi tvaitani samyati vayagandani vashayat Shrotram chakshur sparshanam cha rasanam grahanam eva cha adishtayam anaschayam vishayan upasevate utkramatam shtitam vapi bhujanam vagunanvitam vimudha nanu pashyanti jnana chakshushaha yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantyatman yavashtitam yatanto pi agritatmano chainam pashyanti nenam pashyanti achitasaha yadaditya gatam tejo jagat bhasyate kilam yach chandramasi yach chagno yat tejo tat tejo vidhi mamakam.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Now, can you explain some of those verses as well?
Okay, so 8 starts with, it's talking about the coming and the going and the taking up a new body and letting go of the body, and how your senses kind of go like the aromas in the wind from body to body with the subtle mind. And then let's see, the next one starts, how does the next one start?
So that was Shariram.
Yeah.
And is Mamevam show before that?
Must have been before.
That's 7.
Yeah.
That's 7. So Shariram, Shrotram chakshus.
Oh, okay, yeah. So ears and eyes and feeling of touch and taste and sense of smell. Wow. And then Adishtayam Anaschayam. So like situated in the
manas.
Self, the manas, the mind. Yeah, the mind. Vishayan upasevate. I guess I don't know the last line of that, how it would translate.
Vishayan, that means, again, he tries to enjoy the Vishayas.
Right. Yeah.
He goes to enjoy those Vishayas, those objects of the senses.
Yeah.
And then Urkramantam stitam bhapi.
I don't remember.
Urkramantam.
Oh, right.
Stitam bhapi bhunjanam.
Yeah, enjoying the gunas, under the illusion of the gunas.
Yes. Pashanti, so Utkramantam stitam bhapi, so leaving the body, stitam, being in the body, and enjoying the body, inside, experiencing everything within the body. Ukamantam stitam bapi bunjanam bhaganam vitam. The fool, can't see all those three things.
Yeah.
They can't see how a person leaves the body, the soul is situated in the body, and how it's experiencing everything within the body. But who can see? Pashanti.
The eyes of knowledge.
Jnana chakshusha, yes.
Yeah.
And yatanto yoginashtanam. Those, explain that last one.
The endeavoring transcendentalists, yatanto yoginas chainam, they see, right?
Yes, they can see
the self, yogin pashantyatma, situated in. They see the self situated in, and then
there's the kritatmano, nainam pashanti cheta. The person that hasn't practiced, who's
endeavoring but hasn't practiced,
who doesn't have any spiritual credits because they haven't put any of their heart there. They haven't practiced.
Yeah.
And then yada ditya gatam tejo. That aditya, yat aditya gatam tejo. Jagat.
The sunshine, or the sun, the power of the sun shines like completely on the whole world.
Where does that come from?
The power comes from Krishna.
Mamakam. Yeah.
Oh, the self. Okay.
No, he says Mamakam comes from me.
Oh, from me.
Because he's speaking. He's speaking. Yeah. Yadaditikatam tejo, that the power within the teja, the power within the sunshine of the sun, the teja, that of the moon, that light, and the effects of the moon, and the power within fire. Oh, Chapu here, enter Chapu. That comes from Mamakam. Vidhi, no, that comes from me.
No, yeah.
Very good. It's very good. You're doing very well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It takes a lot of practice. Like I've explained this chapter hundreds of times. So I have a lot of practice doing it. So practicing explaining the verses, you can see how David, he recites the verse again, and he's remembering some of the meanings of the words and putting the pieces together. He's remembering what the verse was about. And so that's, what we're looking for is that being able to not have the Sanskrit as just some gibbly gobbly goop that we don't even make connection to, that we actually just say something and then we have a translation separate in our brain, but we actually understand the words and can recall what they mean. It's different from like translating where grammar and you can just put it all together from the start. So no, we read what it means, we remember what it means, and then the Sanskrit helps us to, the 50% of the words or the 40% or the 60% of the words. Oh, okay, you guys practice amongst each other. Now I'm going to go give the belt to my son. Okay, so you guys start practicing. I'll be gone for like 5 minutes.
Have fun.
Who wants to recite it next? Bailey, do you want to try?
Yeah, I'll try. All right. So 513, does everyone have a book or the email pulled up? So I guess I'll just read it, and then you guys will, we'll do the little call and response action. Okay. Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayami aham ojasa pushnami chasandi sarvaha samo bhutvaraset makaha All right. Right back at you, Carlos.
Okay, I'll give it a try and then I'll pass it on. Gama Vishya Cha Bhutani Tarayami Aham Ojasa. I'm sorry, I'm taking care of a child right now, so you might hear some noises in the back. I'll just finish here quick. Pushnami Chausadi Sarvaha Somo Bhutva Rakshat Makaha. Pass it on to Jeffrey.
Sounds good. I'm impressed with your multitasking, Prabhu. All right. Gama Vishya Chabutani Darayam Yahamajasa.
Okay, we're heading out. We're done here. You got
Done there?
Yeah, I think we have like a 5-minute drive to a park, and we can. Keep on practicing. Just sorry for this. Is not usually what we usually do, but
No worries, Prabhu.
so here's my son. There he is doing the dance. This is Vishaka. She got her belt the other day, and her good friend Yovana got her belt. Nice. So yeah, whoever doesn't have I think Bailey, you can run the verse several times over and over again.
Prabhu, we're going.
We're going. Okay, yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay. All right. And I should be in an ideal spot in a little bit of time.
All right, should I pick up in that?
Yes, please.
I guess the second line, yeah, okay. Ushnami Chaushadi Sarvaha Somo Bhutvarasatmakaha. And I will pass it on to David.
Okay. Gama Vishya Cha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Ojasa Pushnami Chausadihi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Chapu, tag, you're it. Oh.
Looks like she's perpetually frozen doing a face palm.
Yeah. Avinash?
Gama Vishaya Cha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Ojasa Pushnami Chausadihi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha.
All right. And
You guys can do
do
one line at a time, and then everyone can repeat on mute, just one line at a time. Yeah.
Okay. Eileen, if you would like to go, feel free, but no pressure. I don't know if this is your first class or not. I don't want to put you on the spot.
It's my first class, but I can try it. I'm not really sure I have the melody of it, but I'll try. Kam Avishya Cha Bhutani Tarayami Aham Ojasa Pushnami Kaushadihi Di sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha.
That was awesome. Very well done.
Cool.
So do whoever does it, just read one line and then give a pause for everybody that's listening to recite it to the in their own space on mute, and then go to the next line like a Gamma Vishata Bhutani.
All right. Gama Vishya Chabutani. Darayami Aham Ojasa. Pushnami Chadas Chasadi Sarvaha. Somo Bhutvarasatmakaha. Would all of you like to go through the synonyms? Like if I was like Gam, the planets, you guys go. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go Gam, and then you'll go Gam, and I'll go the planets, and then you'll go the planets. All right. So Gam.
What I like to do with the synonyms is in between you can say which means. Like it's a Gam, which means the planets.
And then
Because sometimes you just say words and words and words, and it's kind of like you get lost. Like brings that that connection there.
okay.
And I'm wondering if Gam is actually means planets, or it's just in context. What was the previous verse?
Yadaditya Gatam Tejo.
Jagat Vasayate Kilam Yach Chandramas Yach Jagno. Let's see. If you pull up Veda base, what does it say for that word Gam? Veda base chap Bhagavad Gītā. At a red light. No, I'm doing this. What is that? Verse 13? Yeah. Gam. Let's see. Gam, food, river, cow, earth. Okay, there. Earth, yeah. Cow or earth. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't mean planet. It means the earth itself. Okay. A cow in Sanskrit is gao. Or gam. So it's What was the question?
How do you search for those words on Vedabase?
Ooh, yeah. You just click on the so you go to Vedabase.io, the website that has all the books.
Yeah.
And then you can click on the word.
Oh, I see.
And it brings up a whole thing. And there are different ways you can search. You can sometimes remove like a few letters at the end. And instead of searching exact word, you can search contains or starts with. And therefore you get to see the word, that root being used, or that, the primary part of the word being used in so many different contexts. And you can see, like, that's how I learned about this word pravidha. Because I remembered this word vriddha means old. And I know, and then I looked up, pra means to increase. And the word pravidha in the translation said nourished. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But what increases your age, or basically your growth, is something that nourishes you. So even without like formal Sanskrit training, if you look through those things, there's a lot of connections you can make, and so you can see how the words are used. A lot of those word for words are contextual. They're not straight translations. They're just meant to make it easy to understand how the conversation flows. They're not just a straight dictionary meaning. So tag you guys.
So are we cool with the GAM, which is the planets thing? Is that cool? Get some.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
GAM is Earth.
All right. GAM, which is the planets. Vishya, which is entering. Cha, which means also. Bhutani, which means the living entities. Dharayami, which means sustain. Aham means I. Jasa means by my energy. Pushnami means am nourishing or nourishing. Cha.
Do you guys want to be in a place that has water? Because it doesn't look like we're near the water here.
Ashandi means vegetables. Sarvaha means all. Soma means the moon. Bhutva means becoming. And rasa atmakaha means supplying the juice. I'm going to pass the translation to Chapu. Can you read the translation?
Sorry, Prabhu, I have the translation in Spanish.
Oh.
I can help you with the reciting, but not with the translations.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Avinash then. Yeah.
Gam, which means the planets. Avishya, which means entering. Cha, also. Bhutani, which means the living entities. Dharayami, which means sustaining. Aham, I. Ojasa, which means by my energy. Pushnami, which means I am nourishing. Cha, and Aushadhi, which means vegetables. Actually, I think Aushadhi is also referred to as medicine kind of thing in Sanskrit, I think so.
Yes, Oshadi herbs.
Oh.
Yes, that's correct. I think it's used in this word may be used in another verse in the Bhagavad Gītā, where Krishna says that he is the healing herb. There's a verse, I don't know what chapter it is, it might be chapter 2, where he talks about how he is all the different elements of the sacrifice. The ghee, the fire, the wood, the healing herb, the priest, the chants, all these things becomes spiritual due to their connection. And in that verse, Krishna's basically bringing in this point that if you apply something in the service to God, then that thing becomes spiritualized. But yeah, Oshadi should be herbs. Gam, Avisha. So you can start, for those who are new to this class, we like to act out the various words, can really set in our consciousness what they mean. So Avisha means to enter. I believe this word is also used in the 9th chapter. But Gam Avisha. So Gam Avisha, I enter into the planet. And what do I do? Does anybody remember the example that was given in the previous class. This example is given by Baladev Vibhushan. It is also given by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Does anybody remember that example? So I'm going to ask the children here who are can hear me. They said just go straight home. They don't want to go to the park. They want to go home and change out of their pure white karate outfits. So the example is, what happens if you take a ball of sand, Vishaka? You take a ball of sand and you put in your hand like this. You hold it tight and you spin in a circle. No, but you hold it tight. Anything happens? I can't hear you. It breaks, but you're holding it in your hand, though. It's sand, but you're holding it tight. Okay, so some pieces come out, you're saying? What if you do the same thing, but you have your hand open? Then it's going to fly into pieces. And then what's the difference when you hold it? Stay in the same. So, so sand is dirt, or it's like a form of earth or soil. Are we now driving on top of a big ball of dirt, soil thing called earth? We're living on a giant. Now, is it spinning around like a kid spinning around with sand in his held in the palm of his hand? Now, if it's spinning around, why doesn't it just like all fly out in different directions? Gravity. Now, do you know that although in modern science they discuss the topic of gravity, but they're still completely unsure exactly how it works. They're not sure. They discuss like, okay, this happens. This is a law. This is something that we observe. Something has mass, but they're not exactly sure. It's still quite a mystery. Krishna is saying that energy of gravity, daryaham, that is holding the thing together. Daryahami, dar is the root of carrying something. Do you know any names? Anybody can think of a name, that a Vedic name that talks about carrying something? And I'm looking at Abhiram right now, specifically. Do you know?
No problem. That carries something.
To carry something. Like there's a name, Gadadhar. Gadadhar. The word Gada is the club, the mace. And it's a name for the Lord. He carries a mace. And then there's Chudadhar. He carries a peacock feather in his hair. There is Vamshidhar. He carries a flute. Giridhari. He carries a giri. He carries a mountain. So Daryayami means to carry. So this is the dhar. The dhar is the root, is to carry. And holding together that power of gravity. That's our planet is just a ball of dust flying around. And if he let go, what would happen? The whole thing would just fly out. So Daryami. Gamma Vishyata Bhutani. Bhutani says, what is the translation there? It says living entities. Living entities. Daryayami aham ojasha. Ojas. How many of you are familiar with Ayurveda? Anybody here? Ojas is considered one of the primary nourishing elements in the body. From blood, you eat food, then it becomes digested into blood, and then the whole thing eventually becomes ojas, which is a powerful form of energy. Ojas pushnami choshadi. What is the verse? Gamma vishadbhutani daryaham ojasa pushnami. So pushnami is nourishing. Is that what does it say for pushnami?
Nourishing.
Nourishing. So There's a really cool verse in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a really nice one to learn. It talks about 3 things that happen to you when you put food in your mouth and eat it. Let's see. Ramananda's getting sleepy. Who's on this class? Let's see. Jeffrey. Are you there, Jeffrey? Are you free to be quizzed? Okay, Jeffrey, tell us what happens to you when you put food in your mouth.
Satisfaction.
Ooh, you got it right.
Woo! I guess.
Satisfaction. That's actually the correct word, like specific word that's used. Satisfaction. What else happens?
You gain energy.
Oh God, do you already know this verse?
I don't.
Well, so what goes away then?
What goes away within
you
you
put
or
food in your
within
mouth?
what you've eaten?
Hunger.
Okay.
Hunger. So with each bite, your hunger is going away, you're getting some satisfaction, and you're getting some nourishment. And I'm sorry, I'm going on another verse, but it's such a cool verse. It's a good thing to learn. And they happen automatically. You don't have to like believe that your hunger is going to go away, doesn't it? It just works right away, and it's not okay. You eat, and then an hour later, you can have this hopeful promise that hunger will go away. No, it just goes away with each successive bite. So there's a verse in the 11th canto, Bhakti Parineshun Anubhava Viraktir Anyatra Chaisha Chika Eka Kala. Bhakti Parineshun Anubhava Anyatra Chaisha Chika Eka Kala. Oh my God, I'm forgetting. Tushti Pushti Shutpaya Pushti. Pushti is that again, that's the root for nourishment. Pushnami, I think, is in this. What's the word in this verse that we're doing? Verse 13. What's the word for nourishing?
Pushnami.
Pushnami. Pushti. So pushti in this verse is pushti, same thing. It means nourishing. So in this 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, he's saying 3 things happen automatically if you practice bhakti. You get 1, the pleasure of bhakti, which is compared to the pleasure of eating food. You get some satisfaction. You get 2, you get some paramaneshu anubhav, means you get some awareness of God, which is compared to nourishment. And 3, something goes away. And this is the real kind of testing factor, is virakti. You get some disinclination, some detachment. It's not aversion, but it's just disinterest in material pursuits and material gains. Some really sharp monk, brahmachari monk from India, came to the darshan room and he asked everybody this question. Somebody says, what's the use of your chanting? I take psychedelic mushrooms and I experience God. What's the difference? And he challenged everybody. Like, well, where's the difference? Why can't I just say this? This mushroom gives me God. This is intoxicating psychedelic mushroom. And everybody came up with different answers. Someone said, well, you chant, you feel like this. Said, but unless you're a pure devotee, you're not feeling like that all the time. You don't feel ecstatic constantly. He said, well, the real test is that viraktir, that you get some detachment from material. It's not that a person does some type of psychedelic intoxicant and they lose their taste for material pleasures. So that's a real thing. That's the test of a spiritual act, a spiritual activity working on you. There's like the barometer, the thermometer test. Is it actually working? Okay. Like for example, many of the devotees, they started with completely different lifestyles, and then they find themselves not, they're giving up intoxication, they're giving up cigarettes, they're giving up eating animals. They're finding this strength of detachment because they're experiencing some kind of higher pleasure. So Gama Visheta Bhutani, sorry, I went off on a tangent. Might have to reel me in. Also, Gama Visha, Gam, planet, entering. So what are we going to do for planet? Is it this one? Like that? We've done that before. The planet, locate, we've done that. So we'll just do that again. Gam Avisha. Enters the planet. Gam Avisha to Bhutani. Daryaham. Everybody hold the ball of sand in their hands. You too, Ramana, hold that ball of sand. Hey, Vishaka got a ball of sand? Yovana, got your ball of sand? Gama Vishabhutani Darya Hama Odisha. Pushnami. Choshidi. I don't know, how do we act those out? Anybody have a suggestion for acting out the nourishing herbs? Pushnami Choshidi Sarva. Soma. How many of you? Oh, there you go. I like that one. There we go. Pushnami. Yes. Did you guys see what he was doing?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. He went like this. Pushnami. Finally, I'm home. Pushnami. Let's see the belly rub again. Pushnami. Choshidi Sarva. Sarva is a word you're going to see all the time. Anybody know what the word sarva means?
Everything.
Everything, all. Now, where's my... I don't know where my iPad is. I thought it was in here. Where's my back seat? Soma Bhutva. Soma. And who has heard this word soma before? And in what context?
Prabhuji, I was hearing a class once, they said demigods or something they drink somaras or something like that.
Anybody else ever heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard it reading A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Everyone in that society drinks something called soma, and they're just like eternally blissful, but sort of ignorant. I think there's sort of a play on that.
Yes. So soma soma is known. Moon is known as soma, and soma ras is that celestial drink that people, and a lot of times people read the Vedic literature and they interpret things as, okay, it must not be other planets that they're talking about. They're probably just talking about some intoxicating drink that people, maybe rich people have access to. But yeah, soma is the moon, soma ras. What does ras mean? We had that before.
Like a taste?
Taste, yeah. And that also means juice. Like our friend Namras, he has got an online name somewhere, and it just says name juice. Named, I love it. Soma Bhutva, Bhutva. That TVA is usually a lot of words like gatva. Does anybody remember that? I don't know if we have any students from back then. We had yat gatva nivartante. Is Chapu here?
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay. So what is that? Do you remember gatva? And Bailey here. Yeah, gatva. What do you remember what we said about a lot of words that end with the TVA?
Mm.
It's a past tense word. So bhutva, bhutani, bhava. It's kind of it's the word to be. And so bhutva, I have having become the moon. So Krishna said, I had be. What does it say in the word for word?
Becoming.
Becoming. So yeah, it's a past tense. Bhutva. I should probably grab a book. It'll be a little easier for me. Any questions? Anybody?
I do have a comment for Boo.
Oh, please. Yeah. Questions, comments, reflections.
So I was reading, so when we first started this class and we talk about the banyan tree, and you've got the branches going down, the roots going up, and then the second verse it's like, but the branches also go up and down, and the roots also extend down. So you're kind of just like the tree, to make it make sense in your head, it's an upside down tree, but actually saying it, it's kind of just like it's like a And so I had this image in my head from like a science class I took years ago, and it was talking about dark matter. And let me see if I saved the image. But these scientists talk about dark matter, and they're like, yeah, like it could be, they don't know what it is. It's like the same thing with gravity, like you were just saying. And so then they create this picture just to give you some illustration for your brain, and and it looks just like that. And so it's like, and that's when I think of the banyan tree, that's exactly what I think of.
And then what does Krishna say in the third verse?
It's no form.
There's no form, no rupamasya tatopalab. There's no form like this that can be perceived.
Yeah.
Upalabhyate. It has got no nanto, nachadir, no beginning and no foundation. It's like, this is what you're stuck in. But you just have to cut it with this ashvatam, with this asanga, this detachment, ashtra, sangha sastrena, with a firm conviction chitva. We have to just detach ourselves from like the tar pit of material entanglement. To cut ourselves out of it. That looks like a good picture of a. And the thing about Maya is it's an AI. It's like it's a whole intelligent illusion. It knows how to keep you an illusion. It knows she's a ninja. She'll sneak up on you. She knows like what are your weak points? What are your what's going to get you keep you entangled. Somebody said, oh, is Maya like the devil? I said, yeah, I guess in one sense, but she's in service of Krishna. She's keeping the insincere souls out of the spiritual world. So you're like, you knocking on the pearly gates, and who's in Christianity, who's at the gates of heaven? Like, who answers the gates?
Saint Peter.
Saint Peter's there, and he opens the door. Peter's gate. No, actually, the devil opens the door. And he says, "Oh, you want to come in?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm ready to see God. I love God." And he goes, "Okay." And he shows you like this pile of gold and jewels. Just kind of wander over there. And then you come back and you knock again. You say, "I'm ready this time. I'm ready." And then and the devil answers the door again. He says, "Oh, really?" And then he sees this lady there, beautiful lady. He's, "Oh, wow." And he starts chasing after the lady. So Maya is keeping the insincere souls. You got to be 100% level to enter there. So Krishna's pushing us towards 100%. And yeah, once we get started, we get a lot of help. We get his help so things can keep on going. So it's a intelligent illusion that knows how to keep us in illusion. But we have Neo and the woman in red. Yes. But the good thing is, that's the difference between, remember the question this morning was about Tattvam Asi, you are that, I am God, it's all one, I am God, you're God, it's all the same. And God is actually just an illusion of the matrix. That's kind of the fallacy of Mayavad philosophy, not the attraction to the impersonalism, but relegating Krishna or the supreme being as just a figure of the matrix. We say, yeah, Krishna is God of the matrix. That's the Advaita philosophy or Mayavad philosophy.
How do you? Sorry, Prabhu. How do you counter that?
How do you counter? There's many different counter. They always like the sun and the sunlight. It's like saying, you're a person. You came from the source, just like sunlight came from the source. But somehow the sun is cold. So your source lacks everything you have. Wait, what? No, the source has everything in greater capacity. You go to the source of the sun, it's got more luminosity and more heat, not less, not lacking. So that part seems, quite illogical. There's a lot of different things to cover. That Tattvam Asi, actually, this devotee, he's a professor, he said, okay, we can talk about Tat, which is that, or it's referring to God. And you can talk about Tvam, yourself. But it's the Asi, which is the most complex part of that statement. Are. How are you that? That's the most complex part of it. And we do say, yeah, you are Satchidananda. You are definitely eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. You are like a drop of water out of that ocean, of the same quality, but quantitatively different. You don't know when all your neighbors have to go to the bathroom. You're only conscious of your body. Where Krishna is Sarvik Kshetra Subharata, he is conscious of all bodies. What was I going to say? So that's the difficulty with Advaita when we're talking about this AI of Maya that's keeping us in an illusion, is that if we approach God, even if we're not Mayavadis, even if we don't have that kind of offensive or degrading view of Krishna, we're just attracted to the impersonal. We don't know about the personal. That's called monism, or it could be called Advaita as well. Still, you are all on your own against Maya. Has anybody seen a picture of Durga? How many arms does she have? How many weapons does she have? And you want to go toe to toe with her, you're not going to win. You're going to be in a losing, in a disadvantaged situation. So Bhakti, and you got Krishna. You're holding your dad's finger. You got your friend, his arm around your shoulder, big guy. He's there to help you out. So it becomes your as Krishna says in the chapter 7, he says, Daiviyeshu gunamayi, mama maya duratya. This Maya is very difficult to overcome. And in Sanskrit, often the things that is more common knowledge is expressed in the first half of the verse. And the second half of the verse, the revelation, the new thing, not new thing, but the more deeper or lesser known idea that is being presented is expressed. So he says, this material nature is very difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders unto me can easily cross beyond it. So one half side, he says, super difficult. The other half, super easy. Just surrender unto me. So you have your friend in chapter 12, verses 1, and Arjuna asks the question, like, who's better situated? Yoga Vittama, who's better situated in yoga, in their spiritual practice? One who worships you in a bhakti relationship with love, or one who worships the absolute in the impersonal absolute form? He said, both are worshiping me, but one is almost impossible. One's very difficult, and the other one is a lot easier. Does that answer your question? So there's a lot of, Prabhupada really deals with that subject a whole lot. I really like the sun and sunlight example because it's quite simple, and it seems to not make sense that if something's coming out of something, how can the provider lack so many things? And you can also take that analogy to address certain kind of assumptions. Will someone say, well, your body has all kinds of imperfections. You need deodorant, you fart, you got, you have to shave, you have to do this, you got, you get wrinkled, you get old, then you die. Your body has imperfections. So if you're saying God has a body, then God is imperfect. Well, just like the sunlight, when it's further away from the sun, then all kinds of various imperfections become present, called shadows. But if you follow the light all the way up to the sun, do you see any shadows there? It's just luminosity, all pervasive. Somebody at the door, 1 second. Okay, let me just answer the door, and you guys do some practice.
Okay, we want to just read the Sanskrit again? Practice that?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. Kama Vishya cha Bhutani Dharayam Yaham Ojasa Ushnami Chaushadihi Sarva Somo Bhutvara Satmakaha. Whoever wants to go next can go.
Yeah, sure. Gama Vishya cha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Ojasa Pushnami Chaushadihi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Chapu, we haven't heard your voice doing it yet. Can we hear that?
Yeah, Chapu's, she has the stardom now.
Thanks to you, only thanks to you. Did you see the gift that Kastuva posted on my comment?
Oh yeah, the Yoda? That's why I said you got the blessings.
I laughed so hard.
You got the blessings. He's doing that. Yeah.
Amazing. Uh-huh. Gama Vishya cha Bhutani
Gama Vishya Bhutani
Dharayamyaham Ojasa Pushnami Chaushati Sarva Somo Bhutvara Satmakaha.
So I do have a question coming.
Oh yes,
in the third part where it says Pushnami Chau Shadihi Sarvaha Do you do both of those visargas or
Yes, who can answer that question? We know the answer. Who wants to answer it? Let's see, Bailey.
Could you ask it again? I missed
The
second half.
ihi, the aha, the uhus.
Oh yes. Okay.
That's he remembers the word. Yeah, I always forget visarga. That's what it's called. The H with the dot. That's called visarga.
Oh, I see. I didn't. Okay. So the visargas are only activated at the end of in this format. It's the end of the second and the fourth line, because traditionally these shlokas are 2 lines each, and so at the end of exactly, so the end of the first and second line, you would only say it, but since they break it up into halves, you only say the H with the dot at the rasat makaha, because that's the only one
Jason?
at the end of the second or fourth.
Oh yeah.
I see. So then you also don't say the chao shadihi. No.
Or the sarvaha. You say
Okay.
sarvaha. Sarvaha.
Perfect. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So chosh pushnami choshadi sarva. And you see there's that somo bhutva, somaha, when you say soma bhutva, when you say it together, it becomes somo bhutva. That's a good example of how Sanskrit spells the words according to how it sounds when it's spoken. Soma bhutva. You say soma and bhutva, soma and bhutva together, it's just going to sound like soma bhutva. So it's just written how it sounds. Rasatmakaha. Gamavishata bhutani. You'll see this word a lot too. That's another one to remember. How many of you? We got Bailey and Chapu been here since they're our earliest students. We've had other students, but it's not everybody can meet at the exact same times, and many of them saying, yeah, we're still practicing and I'm still making progress, and it's not everybody's like today. I'm usually available, but then today I had the martial arts thing, and so it's understandable that not everybody can be here at the specific times. But how many here would want to do like another chapter? Okay, I got this. I see Jeff. Anybody else? Because I'm not seeing all the screens.
Yeah, everyone's hand is up.
Everyone's hands up. All right, yeah. And even like we have David's been here for just a few classes. Did you have some doubts before you started this class? Like, oh, I don't know if I can actually do this.
I still have doubts every week, and yet somehow I fit them in.
Yeah, it works. It really, the whole chapter thing. It can definitely it can be a lot easier than just doing some important ones, because they all reinforce each other. They all help each other to all the verses kind of lead to the next one. And because it's just something you say all together, then it's, thank you, Jason. We got Jason Starkey here. We got a star here.
Haribo, Mr. Starkey.
Hare Krishna. Haribo. Happy memorization day.
Yeah, Jason lives. We're neighbors. Like we have the same address. Yeah, he's a duplex. So
He got shaved. Haribo.
Yeah. The cat licked my face. Haribo.
So yeah, I was thinking, okay, maybe when we're finished with this, we kind of dig in a little bit more into the chapter. Maybe if I might be in Florida right when we finish. Maybe we could take a break. And then everyone. I was thinking it'd be nice. I don't know if you saw. I wrote in the comment that if, or I wrote it somewhere. If everyone, at the end, we could send a video of just like a rotation. Say there's 10 of us, and each one recites a verse and then explains it for a few minutes, and then goes the next. Somebody else recites the next verse and explains it, and somebody else, and then we could do like hopefully the whole chapter 15 in like 20-30 minutes, and then send them the video of us reciting the whole thing with explanation. Because it's a good. One time devotees had some kids perform a recitation of Bhagavad Gītā for Srila Prabhupada, and they did a nice recitation, and Prabhupada at the end said, okay, so what does it mean? And they're like, we never did that. We're just parroting the stuff. We don't know anything about what it means at all. He's like, no, you should know what it means. And and so people might assume when they hear us chanting Sanskrit that we don't know what it means. So it's good if we can do a video showing them, all these students, everyone, we're all learning here the meanings of each, of the main words, and we're able to repeat the verses with the understanding of the words itself. Let's see. All right, thank you. No, thank you. So Gama Vishat Bhutani Daryamiham Ojasa. Ojas. Yeah, so Ojas, Tejas. Maybe if you look in Ayurveda, that, I don't know if it's related to this particular subject, but in Ayurveda, Ojas is like the seminal semen, like the sexual energy that is preserved, that is depleted due to over sex indulgence or anxiety. These two things decrease your ojas. Overindulging in sex and anxiety, these two things decrease ojas. And ojas, what ojas does is it increases your mental, your intellectual digestion. I think I might have talked about intellectual digestion before. Our next verse is about digestion, not mental digestion. So yeah, your mind's anxiety is decreasing your ojas. Yeah, so ojas is, you want to don't. So here's an example. How many of you had this experience when you're sick? Say you get like the flu, and you watch a scary movie, or you watch some. Have you ever been like really sick, like and your head's just in a cloud, and you can't digest your thoughts? What is digestion? You take something in, some food in, some materials in, and you place everything, the nutrients, everything where it's supposed to go, and you get rid of the stuff that you don't want, your body doesn't need or want, the waste products. Well, indigestion is where everything kind of sits around, nothing gets put in the right place, and it just kind of sits there and becomes a burden. It turns into mucus, and becomes a burden on the body. It's even called a poison. Undigested food can be in Ayurveda be called a poison. So I've had this experience. Like if I'm ever sick and I watch like a movie, I can't get the movie out of my head. It's just like, it's like a song that you get stuck in your head, and you're just like, I watched it, I took it in, but now I want to be done with it. I want it to be digested. I don't want this stupid thing just rolling in my head. Has anybody had that experience other than me? I can only see one screen, so just voice it out, because I can only see I'm on my phone today. Anybody? Yes, no, maybe so.
Oh yeah, it's like no matter how hard you try, it's like us getting a song stuck in your head, but like it's just spins around in there, and you don't know why, and you're like, oh.
So yeah, that's the decrease of the intellectual digestion. So ojas, these are just kind of side points. I don't know if we would have to do a little investigation if that's related to the ojas that is described in the Ayurveda. if my energy dayaham ojasa, and I know it means like energy, but it could be, an unrelated, somehow like juice and like rasa in the relationship are same word, but mango juice and friendship or don't exactly, or different topics. Mango ras and vatsalya ras, parental love, those are different subjects. But there's little facts about ojas. That's why they say that the celibate monks have really sharp memories, and not just sharp memories, but sharp. It's like kind of like the aura. What is your first line of defense? Who knows? What do they say in Western medicine? What's your first line of defense? Your body's first line of defense.
Your immune system? No.
The skin.
Skin, yeah. Then if it gets past the skin, then it has to deal with your immune system. But in Ayurveda, what's your first line of defense? Who knows that one?
I'm gonna guess your mind.
Your aura.
Aura.
You got a healthy aura, then the evil eye. Every culture talks about this evil eye. People don't, all these old cultures talk about evil eye. And if you go to India, sometimes you see like someone have a nice car, but they have some ugly shoes hanging from like the axle. Or I've seen like mansions with the tire hanging on the balcony. You're like, oh, that's a nice house. No, never mind. Like the envy and the jealousy just immediately goes away. You're like, okay. I don't know if we need to start doing that here, but there's an idea that there's ill intentions and thoughts and stuff. You don't want that being directed towards you, and so a good aura can be like a defense towards that. You probably can, if you here's a way to just tell the difference between auras, and if you just find like somebody who is suffering as a meth junkie, like I had a old friend of ours. She completely cleaned herself up. She was, she used to live with us when she was a teenager and hang out at the temple when she was like 13 or so, and she had a nice experience. But later on, she got into like super heavy drugs, and then she called us up and said, "Hey, I just realized I got to turn this life around." And she kind of had, at least she had the remembrance of the nice experience she had, hanging out at the temple and chanting and stuff. She had that to reflect on, and so she kind of reached out back to that, and she gave up her old life of like meth junkie and all that stuff. But she said at a certain point, like she didn't care if a needle, just grab any needle, stick it in, whatever. And if you find, like, if you go to a place where people are living like that, it's like a cloud. It's not like a bright aura. It's like everyone's got a cloud, and the free will of the soul is being so much limited. Mind says, "Give me this." Desires say, "Give me this." And you're just like a slave to really hardwired conditionings that are there physically and mentally, that are just like forcing you to act in a certain way. So that's a good example of, like, you can see like a person doesn't believe in hippy dippy aura, like they're like, "I don't believe in that stuff." I'll say, you just go to a place like that and then compare it to like a bright child, like a 3-year-old playing. It's like you got to see the difference. There's some like brightness there. You should be able to notice that. And then with saintly peoples, it can even can be increased, that brightness. I've experienced that slavishness to the mind due to a substance. Crazy looking back on that experience. And so therefore, the saints in all traditions are painted with the aura, because they obviously had one that was practically, what's the word? Tangible. What's the other word? Palpable. Couldn't it? Just like they said, when Prabhupada walked in the room, it just lit up. It just lit up. All right, now we're at starting. Oh yeah, we're past our time, huh? It's a good time. Hopefully everybody. This is kind of a crazy class because I was, I guess, a little absent-minded, going all over the place and driving around. I hope everybody. Eileen, how you doing?
That's
Any
great.
reflections from your side, California side?
It's great. I understand now what I should be doing and how to approach. So I appreciate it.
Nice. So yeah, you can act out. Try to look at the words. If you have an opportunity, you might have opportunity after this whole thing is over. But we have all our previous classes, and but look at the words and act them out, recite them, and then when you get into the next verse, if you're on verse 13, but when you get to verse 17, verse 13, you're going to be like, I know that one really well, because you're just adding it on to the next one. You're just, a few weeks from now, you'll reciting 13, 14, 15, and the 13 will be nice and much easier to recall, and then the 17 will be just a brand new thing that you're starting on. And so this section right here is it's HOME, home, the first 6 verses, whether this world is our home or hotel. O is for whether this about the circle of birth and death, reincarnation. M is how Krishna's maintaining us, how he's taking care of us. And here he's just saying, yeah, if I didn't do this, your whole planet would just be into dust. So you're welcome. And E is for the essence of the Gita, and that's going to be starting on verse 16 through 20. So next verse is going to be how Krishna is the source of the fire of digestion. That's the whole verse is just about that. It's not a complex topic. And then the 15th verse, that's a verse you'll hear Srila Prabhupada and gurus and everybody recite, because it's got a lot of really good points. And that's moving away from maintain of the body, but maintain of the mind and the self. So thank you very much for your participation. Keep on going. Eileen, we have a lot of folks here that you can just send a message to Chapu, to Bailey, to myself even. And if you want to practice with any of us, we can just do practices on other unscheduled times. And usually we try to do a lot of practice in this class, and then also dig into the verse as much as we can, practice and digging in. So thank you so much for your participation, giving us all wonderful spiritual activities to do, to absorb our consciousness throughout the day. Unless there's any last reflections, we'll be out. Let's see any. So Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.